Hi there and good day to you. This video presentation is brought to you by Group 5, Kanto Boiz of Science 11B, Living Systems, Concepts, and Dynamics. As curious creatures, humankind often finds it quite interesting to know about how it managed survival throughout its own existence. As a species, which has the natural tendency of preserving and multiplying itself in some places around the planet, which are referred to as habitats within a certain period of time, it can be implied that humanity has to have a distinct understanding and underlying knowledge about itself, a reason to ponder in withstanding the surrounding environments from which it thrives upon. That same kind of knowledge surfaces as the term population in the context and field of biology. Given its significance, people from past to present undertook efforts to engage and tweak more on this particular topic of population. And as an outcome, the concept of population, along with its dynamics or how it moves, behaves, and changes over time, has emerged. To provide further insights, this video will contain a discussion of the various topics regarding population dynamics, which can all be best presented through a mind map. Within the mind map, population dynamics can be understood through 5 main factors, and they are demography, growth, representations, types of populations, and regulation. Without any further ado, let's learn about population dynamics. The first main factor associated with population dynamics is simply determined as demography. It is defined as the field of study which depicts changes in population throughout the life cycle of an organism. It consists of 4 demographic factors, which are as follows. Number 1 is natality, or the number of new deaths within a population size. Second is mortality, or the rate of deaths within a certain system. Third is immigration, whereas new members enter the system, but not through birth. Fourth and last is emigration, whereas members leave the system and transfer into another. Therefore, natality and immigration cause an increase in population size, while mortality and emigration result in the opposite. When applied in the Philippine context, natality is equivalent to 1,724,603 births annually in the Philippines, and emigration is equivalent to 143,883 overseas Filipino workers. A second main factor with regards to population dynamics involves population growth. It is subdivided into 2, exponential growth and logistical growth. If a population increases continuously in an unlimited environment, then this is called the exponential growth. If it is represented on a graph, it would yield a J-shaped curve. However, there is no such environment in the real world. Every system contains limited resources, which could be depleted within a matter of time. Because of this, population growth begins to slow down until it finally stops once it reaches its limit. This model is called the logistical growth. It shows how the carrying capacity affects population growth, and it forms a sigmoidal or S-shaped growth curve. However, if too much population growth occurs, it could lead to resource exploitation, environmental degradation, and other social factors. The third main factor with relation to population dynamics talks about representations of population, which can be classified into 3 main categories. First is survivorship curves, second is age-to-sex structure, and third are life tables. Survivorship curves can be divided or identified into 3 types. Type 1 consists of low mortality rate at an early age, accompanied by parental care. Type 2 consists of an equal mortality rate across all ages, and Type 3 consists of a high mortality rate at an early age. The life table simply refers to the rate of mortality and natality in a population. The age to sex structure refers to the distribution of sex across all ages, and this structure is able to identify whether a population follows rapid growth, slow growth, stable growth, or shrinking growth. It also helps to identify the ecological periods which help determine the population at the pre-reproductive stage, the reproductive stage, and the post-reproductive stage. An increase in population means an increase in the number of people who would need food, shelter, and jobs. Hence, the need to convert agricultural lands to raise food, convert plots of land to residential areas, and to export logs and mine. That not only destroys natural habitats, but also results in loss of biodiversity. Contributing factors to environmental degradation also include poverty, lack of livelihood opportunities, and open access of bioresources. Government actions that were taken in response to these are Sustainable Economic Development Plan enacted by President Fidel V. Ramos in 1995 and the Reproductive Health Law by President Benigno Aquino III in 2014. For the fourth main factor related to population dynamics, we discuss about the two main types of populations, which are the following. First are semilparous populations, and the second are iteroparous populations. Organisms that are classified into semilparous populations possess the following traits. They have only one reproductive period during their life cycles. They produce large numbers of individuals by the thousands. And they do not exhibit age structure, or that the population of organisms are all of the same age. Examples of semilparous populations include animal plants like rice, and insects like bugs, ants, flies, and bees. For the second main type of populations, they are referred to as iteroparous populations. They are considered distinct or the total opposite of semilparous populations due to a number of reasons. Organisms classified into the iteroparous populations possess the following traits. They have several reproductive periods, and in each reproductive period, only a few individuals undergo reproduction, whereas 1 or 2 and at most 10 organisms reproduce. Lastly, organisms within the iteroparous populations exhibit age structure, or that organisms within this population vary in age. Examples of iteroparous populations include mammals, and in particular, humans. For the fifth and final factor constituting population dynamics, we have to tackle about regulation of population. Upon discussing it, we have to consider two factors: density-independent factors and density-dependent factors. Density-dependent factors are limiting factors in the population, which affect the per capita growth rate of a population differently, depending on how dense the population already is. Density-dependent factors are biotic factors, which means that they are related to living organisms. They could also take the form of behavioral or physiological changes in the organisms that make up the population. On the other hand, density-independent is the opposite of the former factor. These factors still affect the population growth rate, but the population's density does not affect this change. They are also usually abiotic factors, meaning they are not living organisms or they do not possess life. Upon reflecting on all the information which has been discussed from the lens of the mind map, it is clear that the current knowledge man possesses on population dynamics are all understood, along with the wonders it holds. Studying population is truly important because it does not only help us understand the rate of our development, but it also seeks ways to conserve and protect different species, thereby preserving the wonders of our planet and ensuring the development of our environment. Once again, This has been Group 5, Kanto Boys of Science 11B, Living Systems, Concepts, and Dynamics. Thank you for watching, and God bless us all.